And welcome back to Open Studio again. I'm Steve Leahy. This is a Mustang. We're doing it. All right, so we're right back into it. I think what I'm going to do is and I've kind of been bouncing around, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to resolve this side over here and then just kind of move across, because now we're starting to get into the real nitty-gritty details for this. So what I need to do first, though, so I'll use two reference photos. I'll use a big photo, which is on the tablet off to the side. You can't really see that right now. Yeah, let me switch. Hold on. Oh, that was so not cool. The way that it just jumped. I could actually set it up so that it, never mind. This is the tablet right here. So I usually have the tablet right nearby. This is how close you are with the camera, by the way. The tablet's right here, and then what I'll also do is I'll take another photocopy and I'm gonna put that right, that's a better transition. I'm gonna put the photocopy right above it. So the reason why I use two, and I think I might have mentioned this before here and there. So if I have the photocopy up above, which is here, I can use the photocopy for the details that I should be able to see. The tablet gives me much more information than I can see on the blade. So the problem with just using the tablet is I try to force too much stuff in, and then it doesn't look real. By using the copy, I can get what I would really see if it was this small. And then I can kind of blend the two together, if that makes sense. So anyway, so that's the kind of the mentality. Now you're not going to see the reference photo, but you'll get the idea. All right, so that's that line. So I'm going to put the rest of the taillight in first. So I'll grab a little bit of black here. Oh, there we go. So I'll grab the black. So that's the first slot. This is the second one for the second taillight. And that was probably a little too close. No, maybe not. And then the third one you can't really even see. So there's that going on. And since I have black in the brush, I'm just going to use it to start cleaning up some of the other things, like the gas cap here. Maybe I can start the other taillight. Again, since I've got the black in the brush, I might as well use it. So what I'll often do is I'll jump up to the photocopy, look to see, what's there, and then jump quickly to the tablet to see what I'm really looking at. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's that. There's a second taillight here. Just a hint of it. Okay, and that's a little tab right there. That shouldn't be there. That looks good. I missed the blue on that a little bit. It's all right, though. That comes around that way. That's another little tab up here. These are all, when I say tab, it's a portion of the template that I cut out that should have come out of the template but didn't. It's stuck behind. So it creates this little negative space in there, which shouldn't be there. But, again, it's not that those templates have to be perfect. They do have to be perfect in where they are, and they do have to be perfect in what is cut out. But if I miss something, or if something needs a little bit of an adjustment, then that's not a bad thing. It's pretty regular, actually. All right, so that is that. That's that. So here's the second light right here. That's the division between the farthest light outside. Okay, which is the reverse light too. All right, I get it. I feel like that needs to be closer though. There's that one. This one does. This one comes out a little bit more and then has the upright too. Right out of the light, like that. Yeah, because then that's red in there. I get it now. Okay. Like I said, it's a lot of just trying to figure out what you're looking at. Give them, you put in just the right amount of information. You don't want to overload the thing so that you're telling more of the story than you should. That's a bad thing. All right, so let's go with the black. The black is drying out anyway. Oh, you know what I didn't do? In between last episode and this episode, I never cleaned out my rinse out cup. Oh, well. All right. What color is that? It's a really pale blue. So for this, I am going to use a daylight blue. So I'll grab some white and a little bit of this daylight blue. This will give me a little bit different feel for the blue, which is nice. It breaks things up a little bit. So if I use just pyro red, black, and blue, like cobalt blue, and those are the only three colors that I use throughout the whole painting, it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel almost monochromatic. But if I mix up the blues a little bit when I can, it'll just give it that more realistic feeling. Because obviously the light blue that bounces off the metal, the clear coated metal, red metal, is going to be different than the light blue that reflects off of the black plastic. So so by adding it up or mixing it up a little bit, it really works out pretty well. This is way too bright. So I'm going to add a little bit of black to this, bring that down, but the black kills the blue, so I'll add a little more blue. Oops, and pull a piece of paper in there. The little the little waste, I have a little paper cup off the side here that I throw the cutout pieces in. It's literally right off the side of the palette. So a lot of the cutouts don't make it to the little trash bin right there. So they end up in the palette, which means I'm going to have to change my workflow process, because having a bunch of pieces of paper in the palette is not a good idea. All right, so now I get this light blue, so I can start adding some of the brighter reflections in the plastic here. And again, I have that cobalt blue on there already, so now I'm mixing the lighter blue with the darker blue. So it works out really well. In fact, I'm going to make even a lighter version of it over here. Okay, there we go. So that I can use like here. That shouldn't be the reverse light. Oh, they're all white. That's really neat. I was going to say this inboard light here looks like it's white, like a reverse light, but it's not. It looks like they're clear lenses, and then I'm sure they have, red LEDs in there somewhere. But that's really cool the way that looks. And again, these details you can't see on the copy, so it's kind of a trade-off where I'm doing stuff you really can't see, and I got to be careful because I don't want it to, like I said, I don't want to have an overload of information there and then be like, oh, look at, it looks fake. That's looking good, except for that line right there, which you can see in both. Okay. That's lovely. That's lovely. Now the red. The red won't stand up on that though. All right. So just like I did the pink to get that red to pop out there, there's a little red outline around the tail lights. So I'm going to grab, I should have just grabbed this then. I'm going to do the same thing with the pink. I'm going to paint them in with pink and then hit them with a darker red to kind of really get them to pop. And those are in here. This is a hold your breath line too. All right, that was way too big. So we're going to have to reset that one. That one was nice, though. That was a good one. And then there's another one on the outside of this, like here. That was a good one, too. So it was just the first one that was too blobby. All right, so we'll fix that. That's an easy fix, though, because there's black on the other side of that. So grab some black. Oops. Want to go there. A little bit of black. So the way you kind of make that line a lot thinner is just paint along one side of it. Like that. And then that knocks it down. So now it's the right size. I do that a ton, I mean, to paint a line smaller than you should be able to paint. It's super easy to, go up against the line and shave it away till it's the right size. All right, so these need to be red. So I'll grab some straight up red. We may have to tint these down a little bit. They're kind of muted, but I almost want them really bright. I want to push them a little bit because I think it helps to tell the story of what's going on back there, where they're pretty subtle in the photo, but we'll see. Like I said, if I do this and then I'm like, they need to be darker, then I can always darken them. But starting off with a fire engine red. And no, that works for me. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I don't want to blend them in too much. Now you can't see any of that fun detail over here. It's really just the blue reflection, because the farther you get around this side of the car, the stronger that light blue is, almost to a white. So you're not going to see all this detail over there. So what I don't like is always, so this black reflection, how it dips down and then there's one above it, that's correct. But right now it looks like that's just dented. So I'm going to have to do something with that to fix it. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run the black all the way across the top, and then that will hopefully fix that. If that little reflection doesn't look right at all, it's no problem to take it out, you know. So I mean, there is artistic license all the time, you know. It's the ability to omit something that's not helping with the story of the painting. It's totally fine to do. But I think I'm going to get away with that. I think it's going to be fine. Again, if it doesn't look right, it can always come out. So far, I'm okay with it. I'm just going to leave it for a bit and see how I feel about it. Okay, so let's leave all that. We'll move on to the gas cap, see what we can do with that. Gas cap has like a kind of a bluish, oh, it's more gray. So I'm going to use, do I have a gray mixed up? Yeah, I do now. A little bit of black, a little bit of white, get a nice gray. Again, I could throw some blue in this, but I'm not going to, because again, it's nice to have some variation in there. This gas cap is definitely a different material, obviously, than the plastic, and the other material looks like it's kind of a brushed aluminum-ish type of material. And it's definitely aftermarket because it says Shelby on it, and it's got the Cobra. So having a little bit different gray is totally fine. In fact, it's probably preferred. So what I'm doing is I'm just using the gray to fix the oval of that gas cap, because when I cut it out, I can't cut a circle that small. So, and I know that, you know, when I'm cutting them, so I know that I'm going to have to do some repair on it. If I'm going to cut anywhere, you know, incorrectly on a circle, I'll cut to the inside, so that when I go around the outside, I can just, you know, straighten it out. Yeah, obviously, if I cut the outside bad, then I could go in with the black and fix it. But, you know, either way. But generally, as a rule, I'll tend to cut it wrong on the inside so that I can add a little bit to it and straighten it out. Again, it doesn't really matter, just as long as I'm consistent and I know, you know, what I did. So, all right, great. So there's your gray. Do I need this gray anywhere else? I do. Where it says Shelby. However, there's a dark shadow underneath the spoiler that's right here that I did not put in yet. So I'm not obviously not going to do the letters. In fact, maybe I will bounce around a little bit right now. If I can get the that shadow in underneath the spoiler, then I can I can finish the whole rear end of this. Not in this episode probably, but and that the shadow is too big to paintbrush. Meaning if I try to use the paintbrush for that, it's going to be streaky. You'll see, you know, it won't be real smooth. And if you look at the photocopy, and I move it over here, you see how nice and smooth that shadow is all the way across. So I really want to make sure I get that. Believe it or not, I mean, that's my pointer finger, my index finger. So it's smaller than my index finger, but still you'll see the streaks in it with the paintbrush. So I don't want that. Play to the strengths, you know what I'm saying? So the airbrush does the smoothness better than the paintbrush for me, so I'm going to use it that way. All right, do I need this color anywhere else? Sort of on the bottom side of the car, yeah. So we're going to play some games with this then. The bottom side of the car here has that same darker color to it. Not as intense by any stretch, but it still has that. So we're going to cut out the bottom quarter, and it's even over there. What do you know? Okay, why not? What could go wrong? See how dark this is? Dark this is right here. Yeah, we're going to do a fade on this, I think. Oh, no, we don't even have to. Because the license plate bracket or license plate area. Am I doing this right? Yeah. Oh, that's way over here. I may totally not do this too. You know, I may wimp out on this back section here. But if it's cut out, I may be able to hit it and see what I can do. What this is it's just going to be a little bit of that same blue to kind of get this to be a little bit darker. And what I'm going to do is fade this side of it. There we go. I just want to hint on that side. All right, and this is blue, but it's got some black in it too. So I might hit it with blue and then just follow it up with a little bit of black. We'll see how it looks when I get it with the blue. All right, so put this back where you can see it. Line this up. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Yeah. And again, you know, we're getting real close to the handle here, so I'll put a magnet on this and then just kind of run my finger along here just to make sure that this top edge is pushed down. All right, let's try the blue first. We'll take a look at it and see what it does. If it needs to be warmed up a little bit, we'll add some black to it. That's what I'm afraid of, that this blue will be too cool, but we'll see what it does. What's nice is I can do the shadow under the spoiler in the back, because that's pretty dark, before I go and mess around with the back of the car. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's too cool, meaning it's, you know, it's too blue, but that's okay. That's all right. So now I know what I'm dealing with. So let's line this back up again. It's easier to line it up now because I can see what I just sprayed. So line that up a little bit. Make sure just by running my finger along the edge there. So now I am going to put some down on the back of the car, but now that I know that it's too blue, I'm just going to put a little bit on, and then I'll follow it up with the black. Like that. Do I have black in any brush? Yes, I do. I have it in Mike's brush, the Mojo. Yes. Okay, same deal here. So what I'm going to do is, since I know it's harder to screw up the shadow under the spoiler, so I'm going to start with that. So I'm just going to hit that real quick with just a light layer of black. I don't want to go crazy because I'll be able to knock that all the way into Narnia if I hit that too hard. See what that looks like. Yes, I'm happy with that. Okay. So now that I'm happy with that, I got to look down the bottom here. That's feeling kind of blue too. So we'll just really lightly just give it just a touch of black. Yeah, it's better. Probably a little too dark, but I think we can work with it. Let me check the no, it's actually pretty dark in the photo too. All right, good. I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do to compensate for that, the wrestling matches, that feels too dark right now, but the reason why that feels too dark is because this back section isn't dark enough. So what I got to do is I got to catch all that up closer to that, and then that won't feel as dark. I do love the way that it's dark because it really helps this back fender to roll over. You know what I mean? It feels like it's a, you know, you could feel the shape of that rear end of it, which makes me really happy. I'll have to adjust the highlights again because I kind of went over those, but we're going to leave that for now. I'm not going to worry about that. That's already good enough. All right, so let's go back to the gas cap. And this is what I'm talking about. You know, this is me jumping around. But that's okay. So I need a little bit darker gray for the insert here. It's actually black, but I'm going to start it with gray because I can kind of use some of the gray in the end to produce the little cobra, the little snake. The random hair in this brush. Okay, there we go. This might not be dark enough, but we'll find out. It is not dark enough. That's fine though. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right. Again, since I'm in the middle of this, thank you all for hanging out with me. I know I'm saying thanks in the chat right now. If If you're watching this as the premiere, and if you are not watching this as the premiere, come back and watch the next one in the premiere. It's a lot of fun. We hang out and I can take questions live and you guys can throw stuff at me and it's a lot of fun. All right, so that's the gray insert there, but it's, you know, again, I put it in, but it's not right, so I got to fix it. But again, that's really par for the course with this thing, all of them. So I'm going to grab some white, a little bit of black or gray to get that original color, because I don't know where I put that original gray. And now I can just kind of reclaim this front edge, which got kind of wonky. Like that. Circles especially, wheels and things like that, they are a total just back and forth, thing. So they rarely come out first shot for me. It's just, it is what it is. So that little last tick, that was the little cobra in the middle of the gas cap. It does say Shelby on the bottom, but you can't see it in the copy, so I'm not putting it on here. That light gray, I think I can use that over here too. Well, actually, let me use the blue, since that's more of what it is. There's lighter highlights along the outside taillight bits. These are lit up a little bit more here. Paintbrush is too dry. Okay, fine, be that way. A little bit more water, reducer to this. All right, let's see what we can do. Hold your breath time. It's a little bit too thin, but it's going to work. All right, so this back little section here, the red that you can see, it's too bright, so it needs to be brought down a little bit, but I don't want to use the airbrush for that. This is thin enough that I can get away with a paintbrush, because if I spray this, I got overspray up there, that sucks. There's blue overspray right here, which I got to get rid of now. But in any event, if I spray this with the airbrush, I did have to cut out a little template to just have this part exposed, or I get more blue up on this section, and I don't want to make that section any darker. So I'm just going to kind of wing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this, this is what I mixed up. This is the blue added to the red right here. Actually, I'm going to go with a little bit less than that. So I'm going to put some out up here with a little bit more red in it. Because all I want to do is darken this a little bit. This little wedge right here. And again, if I can get the whole brush on a section, then I can do this tint job to it. If I have to cover a bigger area and put multiple strokes going across in a wide way, then it's really difficult for me with this paint to get that to be even and smooth. You'll always see the brush strokes. But on a small section like this, where the entire section is, one stroke, then I can get away with it. So now I just darken that up, so that looks good. You guys are getting the full deal. And since I'm letting that dry and not being impatient, I'll grab some of the pink, even though this was blue-ish. And I'll fix, it's definitely not wet enough. There we go. So I'm going to fix this this edge right here. It's a little bit wonky there too. Yeah, I like it. Good. Yes, I'm not unpleased. All right. Good. The only other thing I need on this back plate to kind of finish it up, these two sections right here, these two blue sections are pretty, there's a nice light highlight coming from this side, but it needs a little bit more darkness down here. So I'm going to use the black for that, and I'm going to pull out the template so I don't get this everywhere, because I definitely don't want to get this everywhere. So where is that template for that? There it is, perfect. So I'm going to put this back in place. Again, super convenient to always have your cutouts, you know, and just grab it again, which is nice. And I know it's exactly the same as what I did before. Let's grab the black. Oh, this is 1:1. This isn't going to work. I need something that's much thinner. Because if I try to spray this fade with this black that's in here, which is really, it's only 1:1 reduced, it's going to have a real grainy, stipple type look on this fade. So I don't want that. So I'm going to clean the black out of this brush, and I'm going to switch to 1:20. So it's 1 part paint to 20 parts reducer. Super, super, super reduced. But that'll give me this fade that I'm looking for this, because I just really want to just touch the lower right, the lower right hand corner of this to kind of give it just a little bit of form, and you'll see what I mean when I pull it off. It isn't quite there in the reference photo, but again, this is that artist's. Is that spraying by itself? Sure is. This is that artist's license that I was talking about. You know, making the story what you need it to be, more than what's just there. And I have to do that with razor blades, because if I paint things just as they are, things get lost, and there's bits of the story that need to be told. Okay, this is good. All right, so really light, just on that bottom corner. Nice, just to give it a little something, and you'll see it when I pull it off. Yeah, so that just rolls that, you know, this right-hand side, just rolls that corner over a little bit. Again, it isn't really in the reference photo, but it reads right now. It reads like that back side of that light, the light, whatever they call it, the light housing, the whole, you know, rear deck there. It's just kind of rounded around the car, and that's what we want. All right, where are we at? We still need to do a lot of the little micro details, so I think that's a good place to hit it next week. So what I'm going to do as kind of a final thing this week, I got about 2 minutes left. Perfect. I'm going to start setting up the license plate. So the license plate, I just need to do that same thing with the black, just to add a little bit of form to that, a little bit of a shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this upside down so I get a good angle at it. Just going to take a cutout and just block off the red. And this will get that little shadow on the top edge of the plate. Mostly just spraying on the edge of the paper, you know, and letting the overspray, kind of the extra spray, kind of do the work. Like that. Lovely. How much time do we have left? We have 1 minute left. Well, a little bit over a minute. Yeah, let's do it. I don't know if I want to do that. I am going to put a little Mustang on this. I'll put the little, you know, the traditional galloping pony on there, but I got to pull up a picture of it just to make sure I get it right. I could just kind of float it in there, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do that. So we'll add a couple other little details since we have a few minutes. Back up to this. This is the black with the red in it. Make sure this is not drying out, which it sort of is, because I got to add more water to the wet palette. So what I can do with the highlights, these are the starts. I'll try to talk correctly now. These are the micro details, the little tiny details that really help pull it together. Like this edge right before it turns to this highlight, it's a little bit darker, and that gives it that form. The same thing with the body line here. It's just a hair darker than the rest of it. Same thing up in this top corner too. It's just a little bit darker. It's just a little bit of an outline almost. And I screwed that up. There's a little blob there now. See a little blob? So before I move on, I could keep doing all these little details and be having a good time. But before I get too far in that, I'm gonna fix that blob so I don't have to worry about it. I am gonna add a little bit of daylight blue to this pink too, because when I did that last repair, I could see that it might have been too much blue. I could see that it wasn't quite matching up the right way. So There we go. That's better. Yeah, that's better. So it's kind of a, it's pink, but it's got a little bit of purpley to it too. So now what I can do is I can go back in, oops, get that weird hair out of there. Go back in on the light side first and straighten that out. It's too light for the other side. I was going to try to hit it with the other side, but I can't. I'm going to have to mix up a little bit darker version of that. So we'll just grab this red right here to darken that up a little bit. And I should be able to kind of take the curse off this side where it got blobby there. It did. Yeah, that worked. These repairs, you know, you don't have to be like dead nuts on to the color that was there before, because you're working in such a small area. It's okay that if it's not exactly 100% correct, it really does, it's okay. And then finally the last bit of repair too, and I know we were a little bit over time, but it's worth it to kind of stop with everything in good shape instead of having to start off with a little repair. This is just opaque red, so I know the opaque red's going to be able to cover, and it closely matches this red here. So that's it. All right, kids, so there we go. So again, thank you to these fine people. I've recorded a few of these Open Studios all in a row. So if you have recently become a member on the channel, or if you've become a member over at Patreon and you do not see your name here, it's because you are looking back in time. But I will get the list updated for every new member, and I truly, truly appreciate it. So let's turn this off so you can see kind of the whole thing. But that's where we're going. And it's coming. It's coming. It's happening. All right, guys, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I'm Steve Leahy. This is Open Studio, and I'll catch you all in the next one.